Hello, I'm Matt and welcome to Badger Workshop. This is my entry for the Rockler Bent Wood Challenge. I'm keeping it pretty simple. The first thing I'm going to do is some thin rips. I've got this thin rip jig that I set up to take as thin a cut as I can. Then I can start making some rips. I have some walnut that I'm using for this. Once I've made the first cut, I can move the piece of wood up against the thin rip jig. Then I can butt the fence up against the wood and make another cut. The first few bits weren't as thin as I wanted, and I managed to adjust the jig a little more and get them even thinner. I ended up with a pile of some really thin rips. These are really nice and flexible and exactly what I wanted. But I also had another pile of these slightly thicker ones, and these you can't bend quite so much, but I'm going to try and do something with them. What I'm going to make is some really simple coat hooks. I've got this utilitarian aluminium hook I'm going to use as a template and just make it a little bigger than this. So I've traced it out onto some 18mm thick ply, and I'm just going to cut that shape out on the bandsaw. On another piece I cut out a much simpler shape, and then I can clean up the cuts on the spindle sander. So what I've got is these two forms, one for a kind of traditional hook and the other for a much simpler bend. So that I don't accidentally glue my laminations to the form, I get some clear tape put in. I'm going to start with the more traditional hook shape. So I've got 5 of the thin rips and I get some wood glue on 4 of them. Now I'd normally probably spread this glue out with my finger, but as Chris might be watching, I'm going to use a brush. I will try any trick possible to get extra points. With the glue delicately brushed out, I can get the pieces stacked on top of each other. Now I can get them put in the form. So these strips are far longer than I need, and that gives me quite a lot of leeway either end. They bend to the shape without too much problem. Then I can get the mating piece in and then get some clamps on. I now do the same with the second form, but this time because they're thicker I only use 4 strips, and this is even easier to get put together. To be extra safe, I leave these overnight to dry, and then I can get them taken out of the moulds and see how they come out. So that's worked pretty well. So now I just repeat the process over the next 5 days until I've got a stack of hooks. There's quite a bit of material on either end of the hook that doesn't need to be there, so I just mark where I need to trim it to, and then I can take it to the bandsaw and get them all cut down. The sides aren't perfectly level and there's a bit of glue squeeze out, so I use the belt sander to get the sides cleaned up. And while I'm at the sander, I decide to add a nice curved profile to the ends of the hooks. The insides of the curves also need a clean up, and I can do this on the bobbin sander. I need something to mount these hooks to, and after all this work of bending them, I want them to stand out. So I'm going to mount them on some oak, which should contrast nicely with the walnut. After planing a couple of bits of oak down, I'm going to mount these simpler hooks on this thinner bit of oak. So I'm just going to mark out where these hooks need to go. I can then lower the blade to the height of the hooks with this great camera angle of mainly just my out of focus hand. I can then use the cross-cut sled, moving it forward and backwards, nibbling away the wood. It's not the best saw blade I've got for this, it doesn't have a flat grind, so I clean it up with a little router plane. With each slot cleaned up, I can get some wood glue in each one and carefully spread out with a brush. The hooks can then get put in place and they're a nice snug fit. They sit maybe a fraction of a mil above the surface, so I'll be able to come back later and sand them flush. With them all in, I get a couple of clamps on each hook and then leave them to dry. Now to look at mounting the more traditional hook. So I wasn't happy with a lot of them, and I managed to salvage one good one out of the batch. So I've just got one block of wood that I've put a chamfer on the edge, and I'm going to mount one hook in the middle, and maybe this be good for the back of a bathroom door or something like that. I've misplaced my brush, so I spread the glue out with my finger. I hope Chris has stopped watching by this point, and then I can get the hook mounted in the centre of this block. When I'm happy with the position, I can get it clamped up and left to dry. The mounting board for the first lot of clamps I left purposefully long, and now I'm going to trim it to the final length. I give both of the racks a final hand sanding, moving my way up to the high grits. Now on the more traditional style hook, I certainly wasn't confident that wood glue alone was going to hold it on, so I'm drilling and countersinking some holes through it into the oak backing. I'm now going to get some brass screws mounted in there. They should make it nice and strong, but I also quite like the look of them. Whilst I'm in a hole drilling mood, I'm going to put a couple of holes either side of this hook and on the other rack. And these are to accommodate some little brass inserts, so I can put some screws through and mount these on the wall. The last job is just to get some Danish oil on as a finish. I'm pretty pleased with how they came out, and I think this simpler design is definitely my favourite. I really like how the oak and the walnut look together. So that's them all done. A really simple bent wood project. Thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreons, and please subscribe for more videos.